to Caravan Rebot. It's pretty lively here. So, just past this wall is the desert, huh? Oh, wow. Paimon remembers hearing people call this the Wall of Samiel. It's made to block sandstorms from the outside. Oh, if it's this tall, it's gotta be the divine work of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata, right?
Enough gawking. Come on, follow me.
Huh?
Over here.
Oh, Haytham went that way! Let's hurry up and follow him. Wonder what he's up to.
What the... Where did he go? How did we lose him? They were just here a second ago.
More Eremite mercenaries? Who are they working for this time? Anyway, Traveler, it seems like we were being followed again.
You were too careless. You should have noticed those hopeless amateurs trailing you a long time ago. There's no need to thank me. I've never cared to keep track of personal fate. All I did was correct a mistake I happened to come across. It's a habit I
You really gave Paimon a scare, Alhaitham. We never thought we'd run. Last time we met at Port Ormos, didn't you say you were going back to the Academia? Wait, don't tell—
Oh, so you've already landed yourselves on the Academia's hit list. However, had I wished to turn you over to the Academia, don't you think you'd already be the
Oh, right. You do have a point.
I have no interest in running errands for that project. As a scholar, I've always belonged to the camp that promotes researcher at... And these days, you're more fascinating than anything the sages can offer. Not quite. To tell you the truth, I'm still investigating the Divine Knowledge Capsule. Unfortunately, everyone says the capsule originated in the desert and was eventually moved to Port Ormos. If I am to get to the bottom of this, I must understand how the Which brings me back to you, and why you're so The leader of Ainul Ahmar used the Divine Knowledge Capsule right in front of you, and upon seeing him, your expression became perplexed, and you were lost in... To have that kind of reaction, I think you must have realized something. Are you interested at all?
Alhaitham, you really have a ridiculous eye for detail. What kind of person even notices or remembers stuff like that?
So that's your answer. Well, I do work for the Academia after all. So consider... But that does prove you do have some undisclosed information about the Divine Knowledge Capsule. No matter. Rather than simply learning the answers from you, I'd still prefer to investigate on my own.
That's right! We have the same plan as you! But we don't really have any concrete goals.
Then I'd suggest starting with Aru Village. It's the largest settlement in the desert, so it'll probably have more resources and intel than anywhere else. Well, would you like to head there together?
It's always better to travel with someone you know.
We're way behind schedule.
Solidify!
Next on the agenda... There's nothing wrong with reaping a reward every now and then.
Another test. Stabilize! That tingle?
Hold the line!
Born of ice and frost.
The wrong test subject.
We're way behind schedule.
The hunter.
Next on the agenda...
That tingle? Picked the wrong test subject.
Beautiful treasures are a cause for great happiness.
Gather!
Odds revealed! Rest and rebuild! Let's move out. Let's move out. We should make the most of these supplies.
Before us lies Aru Village, the safe haven of the desert folk.
Whoa, this landscape is really something else.
Sino. Unless my memory fails me, we have barely spoken 2 words to each other before now at the Academia. Would you care to enlighten me as to when and how I invited the General Mahamatra's wrath?
Oh, Hatham. Do not think you can escape my judgment, just because you managed to...
Judgment? So that's how you'd characterize your actions here, is it? Or would elimination perhaps be a more accurate...
Had I used my full strength, not even this traveler would have been able to stop me. Though styled like an assassination, I sought only to ensure that my target would be unable to flee or resist. Standard
Seemed to me more like your own personal...
Who is that?
Yes. General Mahamatra Sino, head of all the Matra at the Academia. He's a formidable hunter, and the ultimate nightmare for any who have
You seem to have placed a lot of trust in Alhaitham, to the point of blocking an attack for him. If I were you, I'd never choose to side with him. I wouldn't believe a single word that comes out of his mouth. I have been pursuing this scribe for a long time. I urge you, stand back and do not seek to defend him any longer. Otherwise...
Has Alhaitham done something wrong? Paimon doesn't think he's as bad as you've made him out.
I won't waste my breath explaining things. Alhaitham, take it out. The divine knowledge capsule you're hiding on your person. Unless you want...
Very perceptive of you. Nothing escapes a Matra.
Wait, the divine knowledge capsule? Didn't it fall into the Matra's hands in Port Ormos?
No wonder you speak with such confidence, Sino. But I must admit, I'm very curious. And why, as General Mahamatra of the Academia, are you all alone in the desert? As far as I'm aware, the other Matra have been speculating about your disappearance. Have you been given a mission that's... Look, if I was the real target of your mission, what was stopping you from simply using your authority and resources to judge me within the walls of the Academia?
I should have known you'd be difficult to deal with.
You two? Ugh. What should we do, Traveler?
Well, look at you two, acting all tough and self-righteous over there.
Wait, Dia? Great! Finally, someone that we can trust! You gotta help us out here, otherwise these two are gonna start fighting.
Yeah, sure looks that way. Two giants from the Academia duking it out once and for all. Not something you get to see every day. Listen, I know you academic types love to fill up your big brains with self-righteous morality and lord your empty rules and virtues, but how dare you bring your petty disputes into the safe haven of Aru? It seems like someone's gonna have to beat some sense into your thick skulls until you finally learn to respect these grounds. Hey, did either of you hear a word?
Ooh, what's going on? The wind's so strong.
Another sandstorm? What's up with these recently?
Hey! All of you, over here, quickly! We have to take cover.
Someone's calling for us! Oh, this wind is too...
That sounded like Candace. Come on, you two. Jeez, are all of you Academia folks such hard...
All right, stop yelling.
Well, hey, wanna play sardines with three people who wanna tear each other limb from limb? Sure, why not? The air is so thick and heavy. Paimon can hardly keep floating anymore.
My sincere apologies, everyone. This is the home of our village chief. I will have to ask you to make do with this small room until the sandstorm dies. Please, let me introduce myself. I am Candace, protector of Aru Village.
Our savior is... Nice to meet you, Candace. The name's Paimon. Thank you so much for helping us.
There's no need to thank me. It's only right to help each other.
Wow, she's so gentle and caring, like a nice older sister.
All right. Now that we're all better acquainted, we should return. As a guardian charged with the responsibility to protect my fellow villagers from harm, I was observing your conflict from and now that you have set foot within our village itself, it is all the more my responsibility to make absolutely sure that you pose. So please, have an honest and sincere conversation with one another. If anyone dares to start anything again while they are under this roof, I will not hesitate to send them out for some quality time with the creature.
Oh, on second thought, Paimon.
And that goes for you too, Miss Dia. Do I make myself clear?
All right, we got it, Candace.
That's what I like to hear.
I was supposed to be a mediator, but I might have gotten a little too involved just now. Anyway...
Wait, that was you trying to...
I have nothing to hide. so there's no shame in explaining. While Al-Haytham wasn't wrong about the other Matra not knowing my whereabouts, it's not because I've been assigned a morally... Rather.
Huh?
A little while ago, I discovered that there was data missing in the Academia's project planning and development files. What little they did report clearly did not match the project's actual progress. As General Mahamatra, I had the responsibility and authority to request an audit. However, to my surprise, I tried to investigate the issue myself before submitting a formal audit request. But I soon found that all leads and potential pieces of incriminating evidence, I began to realize that they were cautious of me from the very beginning. Unsurprisingly, the Grand Sage rejected my audit request as soon as the submission reached. The power of the General Mahamatra is granted by the sages. You have no right to judge.
So they really are up to no good.
I realized then that to the Grand Sage, the Matra are nothing more than tools for the sages to assert and make the vows that we took, the principles that we strive to uphold. They are meaningless to the Academia of today. I believed it would be wise to flee the Academia before the sages had a chance to take action against me. This way, I will never give up on this investigation. There's no need for someone else to give me power or authority.
Sino seems to have the same goal as us. We're all investigating. Plus, now that he's no longer the General Mahamatra, he somehow feels a lot less scary. Well, Sino, if that's your story, then why did...
When I was investigating the matter in the Academia, I overheard a conversation between all... The sages asked you to investigate a blonde-haired traveler. Do you...
What?
Like many parts of the project, this assignment was undocumented. Now throw in your suspicious behavior with the Divine Knowledge Capsule, and I think we deserve an explanation.
Yes. I was indeed tasked with investigating the Traveler.
Al-Haytham!
After all, the promised reward was so great that hardly any scholar could have refused. The sage told me, once you've completed...
The most enticing offer.
Unfortunately, those academics don't know me at all. Their words contained one key piece of information, namely that divine knowledge indeed exists. That gave me all I... From my perspective, the sages are far from trustworthy. Think about it. Isn't it a little strange they're so willing to share... So, I began my own investigation following the lead of the Divine Knowledge Capsule. In the end, I realized my wisdom in committing to this rather than collaborating with the sages. Had I been less guarded, I probably would have ended up like that Ain al-Ahmar mercenary, incapable of remaining sane for long enough to hold a conversation.
You mean that the sages originally planned to dispose of you, using one of those capsules that drive people insane?
I'd already given up on the assignment by then. I only told the Academia I was waiting in Port Ormos for you to appear so they wouldn't suspect it. So it came as quite a surprise when I encountered my erstwhile target while investigating the divine...
Criminals do love to talk about coincidence.
Even though I ran into the Traveler by chance, I had no intention of providing assistance to the Academia. Also, you should remember, you were the ones who decided to follow me and strike up a conversation after I left that tavern.
That's true. Al-Haytham helped us out at Caravan Rebat as well. Maybe he's...
I'm willing to apologize, if that's worth anything to you. I took the Divine Knowledge Capsule behind your back because I judged its existence to be a significant risk. I felt that it would be best for no one to interact with it before it had been properly... After all, curiosity often proves to be the most...
You should be well aware, Scribe Al-Haytham, that curiosity can also... Answer me this. Did the sages share any information about their project with you?
Have I not made myself clear? You and I are both distrusted by the Academia. Do you really...
Fine. Although you haven't completely proven your innocence, I won't regard you as an enemy, for now.
As you wish.
Good. I'm glad. And now you, Dia. I believe it's your turn.
Oh, sorry. Whatever the boys were talking about must have been so boring that... My situation is pretty straightforward. My employer, Dunyarzad of the Homayani family, is friends with the Traveler and is currently recovering from her illness at home. I had nothing going on, so I decided to return to Aru Village for a visit. I was actually looking forward to a pretty exciting time getting back together with but then I saw these two random guys in the middle of a pointless argument. It ticked me off, and things went downhill from there.
Is that all? Well, I will admit that definitely sounds like you're stuck.
That's more like it. I missed you all so much, Candace.
Whoa! What was that sound?
No need to worry. Now that you're no longer at each other's throats, please make yourselves at home. I'll take a quick trip outside.
Creatures? In the sandstorm?
Fighting in a sandstorm is not for the faint-hearted. Anyone without extensive training in these conditions is at a disadvantage.
Yeah, just leave him to Candace. Don't worry, she's as tough.
The wind's died down. That means the sandstorm's over. Candace still isn't back yet, though. Is she all right?
When you put it that way, even I'm starting to feel a little worried. All right,
Worrying as it can get.
Candace, you're still fighting? You've been out here dealing with these creatures the entire...
Yes. They just keep coming in waves. I've lost count of how many I've defeated. Before I realized it...
Ah! Here comes another wave!
leave this round to us. I got interrupted earlier, but now I have...
It's been quite a while since I've seen the Flame Mane in action.
I'll be sure to put on a good show. Let's go!
Solidify!
No touching! Here comes another wave! When are they ever gonna let up?
Stabilize!
Born of ice and frost.
Hold the line!
Access denied.
The creatures stopped appearing. Was that the last of them?
What we fought just now was probably the aftermath of the sandstorm.
Well fought, everyone. No injuries, I hope.
Huh? Who are you?
Ah, my apologies. I haven't had a chance to greet you yet. I had my hands full. I am the chief of Aru Village. Everyone usually calls me Uncle Anpu.
Sir, I am also originally from the desert, but I have not been back for some time now.
I can't say they've always been common, but recently, the storms, besides sandstorms, we also occasionally get earthquakes. According to an investigator who stayed in the village a while ago, these unusual natural phenomena...
Another effect. So, Irminsul's withering causes withering zones in the forest, and sandstorms and earthquakes here in the desert.
Everything in the natural world is inextricably connected to Irminsul. These regions...
Everyone in Aru Village needs to take good... speaking of which, why haven't I seen a single village keeper since I got here?
Village keeper?
Does your curiosity know no bounds? Village Keeper is how Aru Village refers to mad scholars exiled here by the Academia. Most of them are scholars who lost their sanity after a period of training in the Academia believes that their crazed mutterings may have a negative effect on the psyches of other scholars. So, they're forcibly exiled to the desert. Though if you ask me, it's all a boatload of nonsense.
Alas, that's exactly what we've been trying to investigate. One by one, the village, but no one in the village has ever seen them leave. If you're planning to stay around the village for the next few days,
I've had encounters with those people in the past.
The Matra are the ones responsible for their exile. Now that you're no longer with them, are you trying to alleviate your guilt and atone for your past sins?
Mock me if you will. But if you are guilty, I will...
Oh, you're the former General Mahamatra. You must be an expert in these...
Is it because you're reminded of Hypatia? Oh, these poor scholars. But, is it really a good idea to tag along with Sino? You seem like you really don't trust him.
I'll be grateful for the assistance. No doubt you... Let's start by finding a spot to share what we know so far. Although I've sent myself into exile, I'm still doing essentially the same things as before. Do you still have any questions for me before we start our investigation? One of my former subordinates told me that this title has its origins in a strange incident. The Academia has long exiled mad scholars to Aru Village. A mysterious phenomenon exists here. When mad scholars first arrive, they are as incoherent and deranged as before. But after spending some time here, they invariably begin to calm down. Initially, the people of Aru Village greatly resented having to take in the mad scholars. But a strange incident one night changed that. Aru Village was struck by the strongest earthquake in living memory. Seeing buildings on the verge of collapse all around him, the then chief of the village was preparing to take everyone to safety. Suddenly, he noticed a mad scholar crouching in a corner, caressing the ground with his hands. A soft, green light radiated from him, like a divine glow against the backdrop of night. Despite the powerful tremors that ripped through the ground that night, all the houses remained upright, almost as if they had grown roots reaching deep into the ground. In the end, not a single building collapsed, and no one was hurt. After that, the people of Aru Village treated the mad scholars with greater kindness, and began to refer to them as the village keepers.
A soft green light? A mad scholar protecting Aru Village? What do you make of it, Traveler? Paimon thinks so too. Actually, Sino, do you know if any of the mad scholars continued to wear their Akasha terminals at Aru Village?
In theory, they would continue wearing them so the Academia could still monitor their activities. With that said, The main Akasha system would no longer have any interaction with them.
Oh, no wonder! Everything makes sense then! Add in the fact that they called...
If you are able to draw a conclusion from this one story alone, then it appears... So, what do you make of the story? Really?
What? You don't believe us? Lesser Lord Kusanali was definitely...
No, it's not so much that I don't believe you. Lesser Lord Kusanali, the current Dendro Archon. Is she really active in Sumeru? The Academia has always placed far greater importance on the late Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. They've more or less ignored Lesser Lord Kusanali, and I've never had any reason to doubt their... In addition, I've never heard any stories about Lesser Lord Kusanali and her deeds.
No way! Nahida definitely exists! She's a... How should Paimon put it? She's a good Archon who's kind and wise, even if she says weird stuff sometimes.
I've spent many years interrogating criminals.
Good! Then you should know that
That look in your eyes. How can this be? To think. Our Archon has been a...
Alright, now it's our turn to put our skills to good use for this investigation. But easier said than done, especially since we don't have any leads.
Excuse me, are you here to help me find my
Huh?
By the sounds of it, a resident of this village.
My name is Isak. You'll help me find...
Is your grandpa...
Hey, don't say that. Grandpa is just Grandpa. Why do you have to call him that? It's not like he's a bad...
The person you're referring to is not a local, yet you are. Why do you call him Grandpa?
Grandpa is just Grandpa. I heard everything you said to the village chief. Please, you gotta take me with you. I want to find my grandpa.
Ah, so you're the one who was eavesdropping on us around the village. I was planning to go out and take care of whoever it was, but I had a
Whoa. Oh, Haven wasn't kidding about Matra having sharp senses. Sino, he's just a kid. All he wants is to find his
Sorry, I was only listening in because I wanted to know where Grandpa went. Honest, if you don't believe me...
All right. But first, let's confirm the
Of course not. It's all a bunch of nonsense. Grandma, is the Scarlet King really good at that?
Sino is super vigilant. Is this what all the Matra are like?
Ah, you're back already.
We just wanted to confirm something with you. Do you know a boy...
Huh? You knew that?
Yes. Although he tried his best to stay hidden, I still noticed him eavesdrop. Isak's parents were both Aramite mercenaries who rarely returned to the village after finding employment in the city. He was raised by his grandfather. Unfortunately, it was only a few years before his grandpa passed away. Isak was still very young at the time. Later, an elderly mad scholar arrived at the village. Isak thought the scholar bore a striking resemblance to his... However, the scholar was unkempt in appearance and incoherent in speech. Although Isak referred to the man as his grandpa, one summer night, the oft mumbling and bumbling grandpa suddenly calmed down and seemed to become more lucid. So grandpa walked up to Isak and patted him on the head. He even took Isak to the entrance of the village, where he patiently taught the boy the names of the stars. The next morning, Isak woke up and wanted to go find his grandpa again. only to realize it's said that those who saw the scholar claimed he no longer appeared to be crazy, but appeared to be living in his own world, almost as if he were sleepwalking. Isak was thrilled that his grandpa was able to find peace and would follow him all the time, asking him things like,
All this somehow just makes Paimon feel really sad.
perhaps. Nearly everyone who lives in the desert has some form of hardship or regret. But even so, we must still continue on with our lives. It's also my reason for fighting.
Maybe the people have always had a considerate God watching over.
Huh? What did you say?
No, nothing. As long as Esau keeps his word and doesn't get...
Perhaps you are more compassionate than I gave you credit for.
Hey, Isak!
Oh, it's you guys!
We've cleared everything up. Let's go find your grandpa.
Really? Wow! Thank you so much! Yeah!
All right. Let's ask the...